Hallelujah. Praise the name of the Lord. Beloved, this morning is such a privilege and honor once again to come to you to be able to share the word of the Lord with you. Well, for the past, I think, 4 to 5 weeks, 5 days, we have been looking at some things to observe in choosing a life partner, and I've labored to share on those things to guide us and to be able just to prepare us. And I believe that what we have learned, we will apply it in our lives, and that we will also pass it on to our children to learn, so that together we can make our lives count. Just a recap of what we have done. I have established a fact that firstly, that marriage is between two adults, and these adults are a man and a woman. And this is what I've established. I've established that it is between a man and a woman that are matured, not a boy and a girl, but a man and a woman that are matured. That is what marriage is all about, between these two people. Then I've shared with you the following things, that there are things that we need to observe or to know or to look for when we are looking for somebody to get into a relationship or to marry or to get married to. And the first thing that we looked at was that we must understand that the fact that his parents or our parents are good people does not mean the person that you want to marry, it will also be a good people. We are different individuals. We are different men and women. Then we also notice that we must not that we must not marry because our parents said so. That we must not marry because our uncle or our friends said so, or our dad or our mom recommended. In the end of the day, it is a personal decision that you make, because it will be you that will live with that woman for the rest of your life. It will be you that will live with that woman and that man for the rest of your life. Then we also said, don't marry too early. What we meant by marrying too early is, number one, if you're not matured. Number two, if you're also young physically, it's advisable that you don't marry at that time, because you have not seen more men and more women. Many of the people that changed their minds and that divorced, many of them, not all of them, but some of them, you will find that it is because they met somebody that now looked like a good woman or a good man to them at a later stage, at school, at the university, at the college. So don't marry too early. That's why I normally advise for people, if they're in school, to marry after college, because after that you have been exposed to different men and different women in life. You know, when you're in a community, your world view is your community. But when you go to a college, you go to university, you go to the Bible school, wherever you go, your view becomes a world view. So you may make a decision based on the small view, the box, the inner circle, the community where you are. But when you go out, you discover that there are other types of people, different people that you may love or that you may like. Number three, if you marry too early, you will miss out on certain things. There are certain things that you must also enjoy as a youth and even as a single person. So when you marry too early, these certain things, you miss them. For example, going out with your friends, maybe for window shopping, maybe for the picnic. These are some of the things that you may not do when you are married. Number four, consider the fact that people do not really change. That's what we said. You must consider and know that people do not really change. In other words, if a person that you want to marry or to get married to, they don't go to church, chances are that even when you get married, they will never put their foot in the church. So you must consider that. That's why you must love the person and accept them the way they are. Because what you see is what you get in a marriage. What you see in courtship, what you see in a relationship is what you see in a marriage. Though many of us and many of the people, we can see these signs and symptoms during the relationship, but we pretend that they will change. And some of us, we say, I will change them. And some of us, we even say love is blind. You remember, like I said, I think 2 days ago, I said that yes, love is blind, but marriage is an eye opener. So what you see in a relationship is normally what you get in a marriage. Then I also spoke about you being stable financially, that you must be able as a man to be stable financially, to be able to sponsor your wedding, to be able to take care of your wife and the children when the Lord begins to bless with the children. So you must not budget on your father, you must not budget on your mother, you must not budget on your uncle, you must budget from your pocket. Yes, I will serve a God of miracles and he will do miracles, but it is so stupid to trust God for miracles when there is nothing that you have at the moment. You must have a stick. When God asked when God asked Moses, remember when he was before the Red Sea, God says, what do you have in your hands? And Moses said, I only have a small stick. And God says, throw it on the ground. Hit the stick on the water. And when he did so, the Bible tells us that the water parted hither and thither. So I want you to understand that we must have something and we must budget from our pocket. Especially as a man, you must be able to know how you will be able to take care of your wife. Then number 6, I said that you must marry thinking that you will have your own place. As a man, you must have your own place. You must have your own place. Then yesterday also when I was talking to Pastor Matumelo, you remember I was in Petermarisburg. We looked at the cultural differences, that you must consider the cultural differences. Now, the cultural differences comes with values. We spoke about this yesterday. If you missed, I want you to go back to the video that we shared yesterday and you'll be able to catch up with us. Then we also said you must also consider the difference in education, in the level of your education, the level of your education. I want to go further today by saying you must also know the church that your wife to be, your husband to be, where they go to. Very, very important for you to know their faith. You must know their faith. If they are Muslims, if they are Christians, if they are Hindus, you must know their faith. You must not be like staggering, but you must be able to know their faith, so that because their faith can become an obstacle in your marriage and can become the source of problems. So you must know their faith. Then the next one is you must also be able to know what they do in their church. If they are counselors, they are intercessors, they are in music, you must know. These are things that you must know. Are they active in the church? If they are active in the church, what are they doing in the church? Who they are in the church? What is their giftings? What is their grace? What do they like doing? Because these are things that may cause trouble when you get married. For instance, if they are in the praise and worship ministry and you don't know, when you get married, you would want them to be home on Saturday afternoon and they would want to be at church for practice, and that can cause frictions and confusions. So let me go further also to say that you must also confirm any past relationships. Now, the two of you that want to make a marriage union, the two of you that want to become together, you must be able to know each other's past relationships. This is very important. It will help you and it will build your life. You must know your past relationships. If possible, you must even be able to show your current boyfriend, which is the husband to be, or the current girlfriend, which is a wife to be. You must show them, if possible, who you were going out with. It's important because sometimes things can backfire. So you need to be open and be able to share your past. Of course, you cannot share the first time you start your relationship, but as you grow in your relationship, every day, every stage, you share about these things. So then you must also know their name and their age. You must know their name and their age, their full names and their age. I'm saying this because in our today's society, there are people that are knowing each other in one day and they get married the same day. I think that may not be good. If God has ordered the events, who am I to say it's not good? Then you must also be able to know your sickle cell status of both the man and the woman. Both of you must know your sickle cell status, because it's very, very important when it comes to a stage or a time of having your children. So you must know your sickle cell status. You must also know your HIV status, both of you. Before your relationship grows so deep, you must know also your HIV status. You must know, it's very, very important. You must also know the medical condition, epilepsy, blood pressure, high fever, such and forth and so on. You must be able to know these things, because they are very, very important. If there is epilepsy in their family, there is blood pressure, there is high fever, you must be able to know, so that you make an informed decision, because you are getting into a serious thing, a serious marriage. Now, when you know the sickle cell, you know, I will not get into detail because of science, and I want to pretend that all of us have a challenge with academics, so I'm not going into detail. But they are more like group or blood groups, more like types of blood and sickle cell. So for example, if you're SS or whatever you are, if you are the same, it becomes a challenge. For example, you have seen there are couples or marriages where they all have boys. If there are 5 children, all the 5 are boys. Some marriages, maybe all the 5 are girls. No matter what they do, they still give birth to the same boys or the same girls. And there the challenge is that of the blood group and the sickle cell. So it's very, very important for you to know these things, so that you can have an idea of the type of the children that you will also have. Remember, there are people that have divorced husbands, that have divorced their wives, saying she's only giving me girls, as if the problem is the woman. But that is God who is blessing with those children, and he has a reason. And of course, the sickle cell and the blood group comes in play as well. So you need to know these things. There's so much that we need to know before we say I do, before we say I do, before we say I for better, for worse, before we say I will love you forever, I'll be with you until death do us part. There's so much that we need to know. For now, let me end here, and on Monday we'll be able to conclude with some things that we need to know before we say I do, and then we can proceed to other matters. The Lord bless you. Thank you for joining me. The video will also be on YouTube in 30 minutes time, and share this video with others. Tell also others about these lessons, so that together our lives can count. Thank you.